Welcome to the
CoryTellAllSports Podcast.
What's up, guys? We're back with another CoryTellAllSports Podcast. This time we're talking about the second slate of games in Group B and one game from Group A to complete the second round of games there between Cameroon and Croatia. But we'll begin in the game in Porto Alegre between Australia and Netherlands.
And quite a great game it was. I mean, surprisingly, we saw Netherlands handle Spain so easily, but Australia gave them a tough game, as they did to
Chile as well after
the
the first 14 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, these teams have played 3 times before in friendlies, tying 1-1 in Rotterdam in 2006, Australia winning in 2008, and playing out a poor 0-0 draw in Sydney in 2009.
Yeah, but this is a better Netherlands team than we've seen.
It is, way better than the past. But, I mean, Australia did the same thing that they did in those friendlies. They frustrated Netherlands, and they didn't sit back either. They really attacked the Netherlands, and that seemed to help them. They were involved in the game, and it was back and forth.
Attacked.
Yeah, Australia attacked.
Yeah, they weren't afraid. They obviously knew they can't just sit back against Netherlands. When you have Robin and Van Persie coming at you, they're eventually going to score, so they knew they had to get some goals of their own, and it was a high-scoring affair. Really, the whole World Cup has been, but this game, too, with 5 goals scored, and obviously 3 Netherlands, 2 to Australia.
Yeah, coming into this game, Australia was 1-4-1 against European teams all time. But Netherlands came out a little sloppy. I think you could expect that after they had such the thumping of Spain. It was going to be hard for them to keep that same intensity.
Yeah, and also they looked a little bit lackadaisical. They looked like it's Australia.
Sloppy,
We don't have to come out 100%, but they quickly learned that Australia was here to play. And it was pretty sloppy first 20 minutes until they got caught on the counterattack and Robin capitalized on it.
Yeah, I mean, that was once again Robin using his pace. Alex Wilkinson goes in for the tackle. Robin lets the ball roll by him, and then he just goes all the way down the field.
And a great shot to the back post. I mean, there's nothing Matty Ryan could do on that one. A nice little finish by Robin, and he's done what he's done this whole World Cup.
Yeah. I mean, he faked like he was going to take the touch, let the ball roll, and then goes by their whole team. What can you say about Ian Robin so far that we've seen in this tournament?
I mean, he's just used his speed. I mean, you can't
so
get caught on the
pacey.
counterattack with him. His speed, it's too much to handle that. If you get caught up, he's just going to run right by you. It's shown in the whole World Cup. And also his finishing so far. I mean, he hasn't really missed any opportunities.
No.
He's finished every time he's gotten the ball. I mean, that's why he gets paid the big bucks, and that's why he's been the great player.
Yeah, I think when Robin plays well, he can be one of the best players in the world up there with
I
guys
think he
like,
has been the best in the World Cup right now with 3 goals already in 2 games, and he's really put Netherlands on his back.
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, he looked dangerous throughout this game whenever he got into space. As much as Netherlands were a little sloppy in the midfield with De Jong and De Guzman and even Sneijder at points of the game, they're just so dangerous up top with Robin and Van Persie. It's so difficult for defenders.
Yeah, and Robin, it's not even on the ball as much as when he's off the ball because he attracts so much attention. Because if you aren't touch tight with him, then you let the play open up to Van Persie, Sneijder, Guzman, and these types of players, and the whole game gets expanded, and then it's easier for the Netherlands to score, obviously.
But Australia had an amazing reply.
Oh, and
goal of the tournament, Tim Cahill off the volley.
An absolute crack of a shot. I mean,
a deserved equalizer for them. They had a lot of the ball, but that was an unbelievable.
It sent me off the couch trying to look what happened. I was like, what the heck?
He hit it perfectly. Flies off the crossbar and into the net.
Crossbar down, just a beautiful, nothing Claesson could do.
No,
I mean,
unbelievable
it was just,
strike.
You clap when you see a goal like that.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Cahill scores in his second straight game for Australia, now with 5 World Cup goals, scored 2 against Japan in 2006, 1 versus Serbia in 2010, and now 2 straight in this World Cup. Unbelievable finish from the man from Red Bulls, and Netherlands caught out a little bit on the counter, but right after their goal, a really nice reply from Tim Cahill, just 1 minute after the Robin goal, and we had a 1-1 tie. But then later in the game, the goal comes from Australia again to go up 2-1, a brief lead. Yeah. What do you think about that penalty? The ball, Tommy Orr hit it right off the hand of Jan Mart for a penalty. He was very close to him. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, the handball situation, it's very tough. I just think when you're that close and it's in a natural position, I don't agree with the call.
Yeah,
I think it's got to be a forced handball, like when someone reaches their hand out to actually stop it with their hand. It's tough if you're just running hands by your side and it hits in the box. It's a very unlucky call, but then again, Australia capitalized and then it's 2-1 them. And I mean...
Jedinak, the Crystal Palace man, scored just once in 38 games for Crystal Palace in 2013 and 2014. Scores the penalty kick, and Australia has a shock lead at 2-1. He goes left.
Claesson goes the wrong side, but nothing you could do there. But Australia, I mean, it was crazy. 2-1 against Netherlands, who just so handedly beat Spain. I mean, it looked like all was lost until Van Persie was Van Persie, and obviously unlucky. I think he was way offside, but the left back, I believe from Australia, kept him on, and then just an easy finish from Van
Jason
Persie.
Davidson didn't pitch up. The rest of their team went forward.
A lot of failed offside trap this World Cup so far.
Disappointing for Australia just because Matthew Leckie on the one side, Tommy Orr, they were pressing up and down the field for Australia, causing trouble. Their wings were so quick for Australia. It was a disappointing equalizer for Netherlands just because Australia had worked so hard for the lead. Their first time scoring 2 goals in the World Cup since they beat Serbia 2-1 in the group stage in 2010. You had to feel for Netherlands to get that goal right back.
Yeah, you could just see the air taken out of them. I mean, they were up for so short of a time, and then just Van Persie nabs the equalizer back. And from there, you could just kind of see Netherlands just kind of going up and waiting for the opportunity. And eventually, Depe, the sub, giving them a more offensive-minded role.
He had the assist on the Van Persie goal, splitting it through the defenders. That was Van Persie's 5th World Cup goal, only topped by 3 other Dutch players, including Dennis Bergkamp, the famous Arsenal man. But for the final goal of the game, the 5th goal in this high-scoring affair,
extremely unlucky.
You have to blame Matty Ryan.
Yeah, Matty Ryan's got to do better with that. I mean, it was a terribly taken shot. I don't think he meant to do that. Hit the outside of his foot and kind of curled to Kliesen's left. To Matty Ryan's left, and Matty Ryan has to do better with that.
He does. The ball bounced right in front of him. He tried to push it to the side. Very disappointing from him. Yeah. His first ever goal for Memphis Depay, the PSV 20-year-old. On the play before, what really changed the game, Tommy Orr's cross was tough to deal with. Questions about should Leckie have headed that ball, but you got to play it on the ground. It's very difficult when it's in the knee area for what you're supposed to do.
It's a very tough finish in the knee area. Kind of want to get that ball on the ground.
And so Netherlands goes back, scores the goal. They're up 3-2 in the game, their 5th goal of the game. And they would hang on for the lead. You knew after they scored that goal that it would be smooth sailing.
If the equalizer already wasn't hurting enough for Australia, when Depay put them up top, it just looked all Netherlands from there. But still, Netherlands got a wake-up call, and that was important because you don't just want to go in the World Cup thinking every game's easy, and they were showed by Australia that you got to take every game seriously. And I think you'll see a better Netherlands squad in the next game against Chile, seeing as it's going to determine who comes first and second in that group.
And
I don't think anyone wants to play Brazil.
No. But, I mean, some concerns, I think, in the defensive back and in the midfield for Netherlands with De Vrij, Martin Indy, who got hurt, Ron Vlaar. I just think that Netherlands in the back and in the midfield a little bit was not able to keep the ball that well. We know they're so dangerous up front, but they need to do
That's
a little
always
bit
been
of
their
that.
problem. Their defense just has to kind of keep up. And, I mean, they played great against Spain, but Australia put a lot of pressure on them. And you saw them
They did not back down.
Yelling at each other, complaining. I mean, they just look like the weak part of the team. If their defense can just put in a good performance and even just only let up 1 goal, I mean, it's going to be tough to keep Van Persie and Robin up. And, I mean, that's what's
because we know they can score. They've scored 8 goals in their first 2 matches, only better by a club in their first 2 matches since Germany scored 9 in 2002 versus Saudi Arabia and Ireland. Netherlands has an unbelievable attack. They just have to be able to supply Robin and Van Persie.
I mean, it's gonna be tough. Let's face it, for their defense to stop the top tier teams because they're not that great compared to the top tier offenses. It's really gonna have to be Robin and Van Persie to relieve the pressure from them and score some goals.
Yeah. So Australia, even though they do have 2 World Cup wins, you have to say that was probably their best performance ever against a really good Netherlands side, even having a lead at one point from the Jedinak penalty kick. But Netherlands gets points again from their first 2 World Cup games. They do it every time since 1974, except for in 94. Netherlands wins 3-2. And then we move on to the game, the end of an era. Spain loses to Chile 2-0. The world champs are out of the World Cup.
A complete shocker, Spain getting absolutely whooped again.
At the Maracana.
But Chile, I mean, I'm shocked to be quite honest.
Spain, it is shocking.
First 2 games and they're already out.
7 goals allowed by Spain. They only scored 1 goal. Really disappointing.
And I mean, these are good teams in Chile, Netherlands, but
very good teams, top 10 teams.
Top 10 teams, but you got to think if Spain. That's just it's shocking to see. I mean, what can you say? Iker Casillas scored. Oh my.
Yeah, Casillas did not have a good game. I think this is the changing of the guard for Spain. Yeah. With players like Xabi Alonso, Xavi,
kind of reaching the end. Iker Casillas too. I mean, he's not that young anymore. I would like to see some of the I can't wait to see the new Spanish team come in because this one was just it wasn't who we saw in the Euros in the past and the World Cups in the past. It was
It was a different team. They weren't able to move the ball as quickly in the midfield. They weren't as confident. In this game, there were a lot of passing giveaways by Jordi Alba, Busquets, Alonso.
You got to commend Chile, too. Chile saw that they weren't themselves, and they put high pressure. They didn't get Busquets any time to know what he was doing. Iniesta, they always had someone on his back, and, I mean, you got to commend Chile.
You do.
Yeah.
But I think you could see this game coming, not only the fact that Spain looked so bad in their game against Netherlands, but Chile has played Spain really well in the past. Remember in that game 4 years ago, Spain beat them in the group stage 2-1. Chile played a really good game. And they played a while ago in 2011 in Switzerland. Spain came back, but they won 3-2. And then they also tied 2-2 in Switzerland after Jesus Navas' 90th minute goal. But in all those games, Chile pressured Spain. They didn't let them have time in the midfield.
Yeah.
And Chile's a very quick team.
Yeah, and it showed in the first goal when Xavi Alonso made a terrible mistake in the midfield. Alexis Sanchez then feeds it to Aranguiz, and then plays it over to Vargas, who has a nice finish. I mean, it's
a good touch to take it by Casillas and then in for the net.
Yeah, and that's how they play.
It was shocking.
They're looking to take it off the middle, off mistakes from the Spain midfielders, and then when you have Alexis Sanchez, who is maybe one of the fastest guys in the soccer world, he can just run by everyone, plays, and then he attracts so much attention, gives the ball and a nice cross into Vargas, who finishes it.
Yeah, I mean, Vargas scored against Spain in the friendly in 2011 and scored 2 goals against them in another friendly in 2013. Kills Spain. And he scores again for Chile. And I think that kind of killed any momentum that Spain had. You could say that they were rattled after
they needed the first goal. I mean, they need a
confidence-wise. And Chile gets the first goal. And from there on, it was very rough sailing for Spain. What do you think about the decision to not start Xavi or Piqué? First time since 2002 that neither one of them was in the lineup for Spain.
Well, I understand Xavi. He's old. He's not who he used to be. And Piqué, Corey, he had a woeful game. And Javi Martinez is a good player back there. And I
don't think Javi Martinez cost them the game. I just think
no. Yeah. And I like the decision. He's a great passer. He's a center defensive midfielder. So he fits perfectly in the role. I just think it was a calamity of it was a true calamity of Spain, and it was the collaboration of the whole team that kind of failed them. I mean, there was just no cohesiveness that we used to see in the.
And we saw throughout the game, Spain wasn't being as deliberate as they normally are. They were a little frantic, not keeping the ball as they normally would. Their passing really let them down, and that's not something you normally say about a Spain side. You had to commend Chile for their pressure throughout the midfield with guys throughout their squad, like Marcelo Diaz and Charles Arangues and Vidal, but also Spain a little bit lackluster in that midfield.
Yeah, no, very lackluster. And then it comes down in the end of the second half, and this is really a killer. I mean, you talk about the worst times to score is the end of halves. I mean, that's just going into halftime. That's a real killer. And Casillas, Corey. You can't.
Sanchez takes the free kick. Yeah. And it's a very poor punch out.
He punches it right to the middle. I mean, it was terrible, truly. Is it Aranguiz or
Aranguiz? Yeah.
Aranguiz scores a goal, but Casillas has really got to be at fault there, Corey. You just can't punch it out to a guy standing in the middle of your 18.
You have to either make a decision. You have to catch the ball, or you have to punch it out far. You can't punch it out inside your 18.
And if you're gonna punch out somewhere, punch it out to the corners.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a goalkeeper mistake, another one, and you can't have this, Corey.
Yeah, so Spain let up multiple goals in the World Cup for the first time since 1950, when they tied Uruguay 2-2 and then lost to Brazil 6-1. Historic moments for Spain, not for the good sense of the word. In the second half, they could muster very little. They had the one opportunity from Sergio Busquets, but he's a center defender. Center midfielder, defensive midfielder, and that's what happens. Terribleness.
He's got to score, but I don't even think they would have came back after that, Corey. It was just a deflated. It was a deflated.
It was. It was almost everything that could have gone bad did go bad for Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very nice bicycle kick by Diego Costa, who did very well.
Oh, that was pretty sick.
But
Should have went to Brazil.
But, I mean, Busquets never scored for Spain, never had more than one league goal in a season for Barcelona. And that really signified the end of Spain for me. They couldn't get anything going in this tournament. So I think the question is this the end of Spain as we know it? After they've won the Euros in 2008, World Cup, Euro.
I think the most dominant Spain, but I don't think this is a Spain that's going to keep on losing in the first round of the World Cup. I think this Spain is still a good team, but I don't think it's the dominance that we've seen before. Yeah. I mean, Corey, they have Azpilicueta starting.
Him and Jordi Alba did not play great in the back. But I think it was throughout the team.
still
Chile had 14 pass interceptions.
But they still have a lot of talent on the bench. When you look at Santi Cazorla, Juan Mata, Fabregas,
They're a deep team.
Juan Fran, they have, and David De Gea. They have good younger players.
Yeah.
But I think it's the end of the Spain as we know it.
Is this the end of Tiki Taka? We saw Barcelona have a very disappointing season. Is that the end of a playing style that came to signify what Spain was made
Bayern,
of?
maybe though, Corey. Maybe the Germans take on the tradition. I mean, you saw with
Pep Guardiola leading.
Yeah, leading Bayern Munich and Lahm being in the middle of that. I mean, they kind of played the style of great possession, but
They did. So
Tiki-taka.
you don't think this is the end of Tiki Taka?
No, I think it's still. I think it'll still.
Neither do I. I think this is the end of the specific era that we saw for Spain with guys like Xabi Alonso and Xavi in the midfield. I just think that they ran out of gas. They weren't as quick in the midfield, and they didn't have that cutting edge that we saw in
They're
the
old.
past.
I mean, you can't expect the same performance from them. It's unlucky that we couldn't see it one more time, but I do think this is the end of the Spain as we know it.
Yeah, it was Spain. Spain lost consecutive games at the World Cup for the first time since 1982. And it's been an occurrence that we see in all sports that champs have a very difficult time in defending their crown. If we look at the World Cup, 98 France won, didn't make it out of the group stage in 02.
Well, I mean, Corey, it's 4 years later. These guys become older. Some people don't play in the
Cycle's
World Cup again.
It's a cycle.
It's not like the NBA where you can play the net. Well, you have the chance.
But
the
still,
next
in
year.
all sports, it's very hard to defend a title.
I wouldn't say for the NBA though, Corey. The Heat and the Spurs have just
That's true.
dominated.
But I mean,
that's
NFL, it's very difficult.
Yeah, no, it is. It is very difficult.
And we remember Italy 06. They didn't make it out of the group stage in 10, and now another team that wins the World Cup comes back to not win the to not make it out of the group stage. Spain's the first defending champion to ever lose their first 2 World Cup pictures. It's sad to see Spain go out like this. What do you think Spain does from here? Do they keep some of their guys like Iniesta, who are really... Iniesta was maybe the one bright spot, or do they do a total new revolution?
I mean, I think you got to keep Iniesta. Iniesta's great.
But as a team as a whole...
As a team as a whole, I think you got to get rid of some of the parts. I mean, PK is just... He's too old, Corey.
Some of the older
Casillas
guys.
is past his prime. I think you got to put De Gea in. De Gea has been great for Manchester United. He's really been one of the few bright spots in United's whole season. I mean, a great shot stopper. I think you got to look at guys like Santi Cazorla and Juan Mata, who are more playmakers, maybe not the tiki-taka style, but they're great playmakers and they know how to perform in the attacking third, which is some of the parts Spain had trouble with.
They did. 2 teams that this did help, though, Spain's demise was Chile and Netherlands. Chile make it to the knockout stage in 2 tournaments for the first time ever.
And the Chilean fans were wild.
They were.
I mean, all the South America. I mean, I see Chile and Colombia
Amazing
having
South
the best
American
fans,
support.
better than Brazil, to be quite honest.
And the Netherlands are out of the group stage for the 8th straight time they've been in the tournament. Netherlands and Chile move on. Now Spain will play Australia just for some fun. I think we are going to see a whole new Spain in that game. And it's the end of an era. It was an amazing... You have to look back and say... An unbelievable accomplishment for Spain to win 3 major national tournaments, but I think now it's time to move on a little bit.
Yeah, and we're in the present, so Spain's out. That's done. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next game.
Final game.
Croatia, Cameroon, the final...
In Group A from Manaus.
Yeah. And it was one side, to say the least.
It was. I mean, the game really changed when Alex Song did his best Alex Song and got a red card, and that just ruined anything that Cameroon had in the game, because they did have the early edge. They couldn't finish,
they did.
But
the presence of Mandzukic, Corey.
Huge, yeah.
I'm telling you, if we saw Mandzukic against Brazil, we would have seen a whole different game. I mean, it was already close, but I really think that could have tipped the edge.
Yeah, Mandzukic is a big body.
And
he's good up.
It's his body
front,
too. I mean, in the first, I believe it was the first goal when you saw him take up space in the midfield, which caused Olik to actually finish.
Yeah, he chested it down to Perisic, who plays a great ball, to Olik, who's so old he scored in the 2002 World Cup in Croatia's 2-1 win over Italy.
You won't get an easier goal than that, I'll tell you that much.
After having his best scoring season with Wolfsburg, with 15 goals since he scored 28 with Hamburg in 08-09, Olik got to behind the defense. That was a really nice ball by Perisic.
Yeah, and Perisic has played great, and it showed. Yeah. And he well deserved goal in the 48th minute. And I mean, it was pretty one sided.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to say 39th minute. What was Alex Song thinking? Just punching him in the back.
Hey, he deserved it.
There was no logic.
Yeah, Alex Song, you have
the new Pepe.
The new Pepe. No, Corey.
Pepe's
in a league of his own.
Yeah, but still, Alex Song.
Very.
What was he thinking?
I mean, you do this for your country and
Yeah.
your fellow teammates, and
Foolish.
to just embarrass them like that in the manner that he did. I mean, it wasn't even a soccer play. It wasn't like a slide
No.
tackle gone wrong. I mean, it was just a straight out punch. It was stupid, and Alex Song, it's disappointing, and I feel for his teammates.
Yeah, because that's just a foolish decision on his
a good
part.
Cameroonian
No
team.
idea why he would do that. They had a good spell in the beginning of the
Yeah,
game.
with the Suakoto getting down the left side, giving
did.
some havoc to Croatia. I mean, it was just there was no need for it. It was just no need.
Yeah, and after the Alex Song red card, it was one-way traffic. In the second half, they get an early goal. Perisic goes all the way down the left side after a poor clearance, and he scores a goal and assist for Perisic there. Even when Mandzukic missed an easy breakaway right after, he adds another goal off the header from the corner kick from Pranjak. They go up 3-0, and the route was on for Croatia. It's going to come down to them versus Mexico for second place, most likely.
Mexico has played well, but Croatia, Corey, they are
Croatia
just a
looks
very
very
team.
good.
And with Luka Modric, Corey, he's just so fluid in the center
is.
midfield. I mean, the team runs through him, and he just plays so beautifully. He didn't get on the stat sheet that I don't believe in this entire game. I don't think he had an assist or a goal. But, I mean, if you just watch the little things that he does to help guys like Mandzukic and Oleg and Perisic be able to do what they do, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so Mandzukic is the first player to have multiple goals in a game for Croatia since they were still a part of Yugoslavia, and the player did so in 1990 for Yugoslavia. And then the fourth goal comes. Eduardo shot is saved by the Cameroonian keeper, goes right to Mandzukic. And you said Olik wouldn't have an easier goal.
Oh, that's true.
Mandzukic won't have an easier goal. He was literally just standing right there. 4-0 win. Croatia were scratching pretty terrible. I mean, Cameroon were scratching terrible after they got the red card from Alex Song. Croatia got a win in their first ever game against a African side. And now Cameroon with their 6th straight World Cup loss, despite making 6 of the last 7 tournaments.
One of the African teams are out. And
They are.
It's annoying. I just want one to do well for once.
Ivory Coast is still in, but we'll see that. But this changed after Alex Song. I mean, you're not going to win when you're down to 10 men and down a goal.
Yeah.
Disappointing to see from him.
Just disappointing, but I know one team that won't be crying about that red card, and that's Croatia.
That is.
Deservedly getting the 4-0
capitalized.
win. Still the better team in the game. And Croatia, Mexico, Corey, that's going to be a great game.
It is. So the future for Group A comes down to what happens in that Croatia-Mexico game. If Mexico can somehow handily beat Croatia, they could possibly sneak into the first spot.
They have to try first of
They
all.
do. But Croatia, if they win that game, they will move on and be in second place behind Brazil. So we'll see what happens in Group A. But from Group B, Chile and Netherlands are advancing. They play each other to get first and second.
Peace.
All right. Thanks, guys. Peace.
Peace.